Hi, my name is Jill Goetsch, and I'm part of the educational psychology course. And I wanted to share with you, I just got done taking the PLT exam, the 5621, a couple of weeks ago, and so have done a lot of preparation and studying for that exam over the last month, really. And when the opportunity came up to put together a study guide, I talked with Dr. E about maybe just videotaping because I don't really have one complete document that I'm submitting. I kind of went through different websites and resources. The challenge that I faced with really studying is being able to access the information from all of the previous courses. I mean, I've been in school for the last 2.5 years, and probably other classmates have been in school too, so I no longer have access. And even when I did have access, I wasn't able to print off the ebooks. And even in this current course, I wasn't able to print off information from the book. So it was kind of, I'm old school with needing to be able to read and study and highlight and all of that. So this is what I did. The first thing that I did, Dr. E provided us with some good resources as I put a smaller binder, you can see together. The first thing I did was I printed off the, if you can see it, the Principles of Learning and Teaching Early Childhood, and that was a link that she provided in the announcements. And I flipped through and I read through just to get familiar with what the format of the test was going to be. And then I went through on page 12. That's kind of hard to see, but and I went through and kind of asked myself, do I know this? Do I know that? What do I know about the students as learners? And if I had a question or if I didn't know something, I would underline it, like you can see. I don't know, my little marks there and stuff like that. So that kind of gave me an idea of what I currently know. I thought I knew a lot, but you do forget things over time. So I went through that, through this whole thing really, and just read through those bullet points. And then I flipped to where they have the exam, the chapter test, and I answered it and went back and graded myself. And the things that I got wrong, which I did get a few of them wrong, I went through and found the answers. And whether I went through the resources in our class, finding it in our books, or just Googling it to try to figure out why I got it wrong. And you can see I wrote through notes on what the correct answers were and why, or even if I didn't understand like one of the other options that maybe triggered something. It's like, oh, what is the ability to recognize and recall information? That's called knowledge, with these other definitions. So I went through. So that was the first thing I did. And the second thing, as far as taking that beginning test, and that gave me a good idea of what I knew and how much more I needed to know. So then came the big daddy binder, which is a lot thicker. But what I was able to download and print off were all of the PowerPoints that Dr. E provided us with, and that helped me a lot. So I basically got a binder, and I printed off all of the PowerPoints, and I put the cover sheet like in a plastic thing, and then printed off all of the following pages. And so the third thing I did was really go through and read and see if I recalled and knew the information that was in the PowerPoint presentations. And then I also kept a green marker and would highlight anything that I thought I needed to come back to. So you'll notice, like, for example, you can see the green, like dual language. And that kind of, I was able to, so I read through it the first time, highlighted the things that I wasn't like 100% sure I knew, and would go back, and then that way I could flip through in the next page. I like, oh, I know what those are easily, and I can flip through it the next time a lot quicker, just looking for the green marker notes. And then the fourth thing that I did was print off the matrices that she had us do. So I had the URIS matrix. See that? There. And then the instructional matrix. And those were several pages, that we'd all done. And so I refreshed my memory on those things. So, after having done all of that, which took quite a bit of time, I went through and printed off. This was the fifth thing I did. This was the part 2, and Dr. E had given this to us also. And I went through and made sure I could understand or answer any of the bullet points, topics more thoroughly. And I would test myself really by writing down the answer. So you can see my notes off to the side. So it was kind of just a mini, thing that I could go back and refer to. And I kept that just in the pocket of my big PLT. So this kind of, I don't know, I'm a preschool teacher already and a mom of 4 kids. So for me to be able to have something that I could take with me to soccer games and things like that was really good. And then the fifth thing that I did after going through all of the study materials is I went to the links that Dr. E presented us with, and it was the online study exam practice guides. And that by far, I mean, to really test to see if you know the material was such a huge thing. And I'm sorry, I'm at school, just scooch over. So I clicked on the link so you can see like the PLT exam, or the PLT study companion was one of the links, and that was one of the things I printed off. And then if you go to the praxis, initially I just purchased, if you can see, that first one, which is the Principles of Learning and Teaching Early Childhood Interactive Practice Test, and that was about $20. And it was great in the fact that there were I think 70 questions on there that you could go through, but man, I felt like once I started trying to answer the questions, I was getting a lot of them wrong. Not a lot, but more. I thought I was going to do better than I was because I thought, after studying everything. But the thing I liked about it is it tells you when you got something wrong, what the correct answer is and where to find the information. So I really learned a lot by getting the feedback, that instant feedback from the exams. About a week prior to going in and taking the PLT exam, I was teetering on buying that additional exam, which is down here, the Principles of Learning, the online self tutorial, because I didn't know what that would be, and it was, I don't know, $45, and it had other praxis exams that I wasn't taking, so I didn't really want to spend the money and get a whole bunch of information that I didn't need or didn't think that I needed, and I wasn't really sure what a self-study tutorial would be. But about a week before, I thought, okay, I really don't want to have to retake this exam. So I went ahead and purchased that too, and I don't regret that at all. With the 5621 anyway, they break it down by chapters and by content. So you're able to get a test, like an end of the chapter test, and take that and get the feedback like in the original, the shorter one, the 70 question one, for each chapter. So really, I think there were probably 8 different content tests in there with feedback that covered a much broader and much, it just gives you more questions, more explanations. And so after having gone through that, I really felt much more prepared for what things I needed to go back and study. And then I kind of flipped through after seeing the ones that I got wrong and figuring out why. I went through the whole binder one more time just to, be able to see if I could answer the things or explain the things that were bolted on the PowerPoint. So I think I did really well. I haven't gotten my results back yet, but I would suggest those to anybody that's getting ready to go in and take the PLT. Hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving. Bye.